Falcha, you're listening to SewBro, where we talk and sew. Today, I'm joined by Jasmine Minchez Lopez. She is a Guatemalan-American poet whose work explores the themes of girlhood, culture, and the cities she falls in love with. Her work has garnered hundreds of thousands of views online and has taken her to stages in front of Mindy Kaling, Debbie Allen, Anderson .Paak, and thousands of students across Southern California. She currently studies communication at USC Annenberg and always has a cute set of nails on, as you can see.
Yes.
Welcome.
Love it. Hi, Shane.
So you recently performed at Awaken in Los Angeles, which highlighted the diverse communities around Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
Yeah, the show was a wonderful collaborative production produced by Get Lit, who we're familiar with, this nonprofit based in Koreatown, and in conjunction with the wonderful folks at the Ford, to kind of paint a tapestry of the different diasporas of LA. And I was contacted for it a few months ago to really bring in perspective of Latinidad across all different pockets of the city. Mine is really rooted in the neighborhoods of South Central and the Valley especially, so my poem that I performed really had references to Sylmar, Reseda, to pockets of like Slauson and, you know, historic South Central. But of course I also had to include lines that, even if I didn't directly relate, just like brought in the very broad diaspora of where we're all like from. Like there's, I mean, you can't go into any corner of Los Angeles and not find a Latino somewhere. So of course, like East LA is in that, and South Bay is in that, and the areas that are maybe controversially not considered LA are also in that. I've been having so many conversations in the past couple of weeks about what is and isn't LA with many different friends from many different neighborhoods, so that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, If I Awaken in Los Angeles was a really wonderful show. Really honored to be a part of it, especially with a poet who I admire so much. Like it was a set where they really wanted to highlight the how to say, like an older gen and a younger, you know, sort of gen, and just like the relationship between the two, especially because that is so central to Latino culture. So I was able to be with the amazing author, poet, Luis Rodriguez, and it was a very full circle moment because I first read his work as an 8th grader, studying in Sylmar, where he has a bookstore and a press that he co-founded with his wife like 20 plus years ago. I think over 25 years ago now. And Tia Chucha's cultural bookstore, and it's a cultural center, and I go there all the time. I have so many friends that work there. I've been able to meet Luis at different events throughout the years, and so to finally work with him and really get to like speak with him and like hear his stories during rehearsals. He's like the type of person that just jumps into a story, and it just like and envelops you in it, and you're asking more, and then you just like find out about a whole pocket of his life that is really interesting, and he's been, yeah, he was just so wonderful to work with, and it was a great time. A lot of great poets in that show. Mm-hmm.
For those who aren't aware, Luis Rodriguez is the poet laureate of Los Angeles and one of the pillars of the poetry community here in LA. Mm-hmm. Tia Chucha's is actually where I met one of my best friends, Zach, when we were both doing poetry, competing in the Get Lit Poetry Slam. Yeah. So that place is a very special spot in my heart that it was where I got close to one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. Oh, so what was it like performing with him and sharing the stage?
It felt familiar, which is strange, but it didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't feel like didn't feel strange. It felt really comfortable. I think that maybe because I've like met him just a handful of times, or because I know his work so closely, it definitely wasn't one of those moments where I've had moments where I like meet folks that I'm a huge fan of and whose work has like greatly inspired me, and I just have like an awestruck moment of like, I know your work so well and now you're in front of me, you know. That's definitely happened with poets, but I think with Luis it was something of like, you remind me of home, and so it was very easy to feel comfortable. And he was also, you know, he's so gracious, and he's very professional, and you know, he would show up, he would carry himself with great energy. Some of the things that we would have to rehearse, we would have to tweak or like do them again, and you know, with every decision we were very tactical and like in telling the story the right way. And even if it's like it was a simple scene, like I walk out, I say my poem about Los Angeles, that's a very personal narrative to me, and then he joins me on stage, and I have a moment where I'm like looking back at him, and then we come together in the middle, and I am acknowledging him with like a semblance of like respect, right? And then he delivers his piece, and I'm sitting there watching him, and also admiring the dancers, these amazing dancers, Brenda and Norma, who were doing like a contemporary dance in the background while he was performing his poem. And it was great to just like sit there and like watch it, and having to remind myself not to fidget too much because I am on stage. But yeah, I was having a ball, so that was really comfortable. Mm-hmm.
I feel you on the fidgeting on stage. There's a few times where I thought I had great performance, and I was like pinching my jeans or like flicking the mic cable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just
so,
like the small things.
For those of you who aren't aware, the Ford Theater is this giant outdoor amphitheater. Mm-hmm. Was that the biggest crowd you've performed in front of?
It's a great question. I don't think so. I think I don't recall the crowds. Oh my god, everything I've ever done is escaping me. Probably something definitely among the biggest. We had something a couple years ago, or maybe a year ago, at the $1 Million Theater, and that was also like a comparable size. I think that was for the screening of a film doc called Maestra. Yeah, but the Ford is really special because it's outdoors. It's like across the street from the Hollywood Bowl, and mm-hmm. I think it's really cute that they frame it this way, but they call it like the more intimate venue, like the Hollywood Bowl's intimate sister or something like that, which is a really kind way of saying like it's a little smaller, but she's so cute. Like, I love the Ford. I saw a band there a couple years ago called Luna Luna. They're based in Dallas. Yes, Dallas, I think. Definitely Dallas. I didn't know for a while if it was Austin or Dallas, but I'm pretty sure it's Dallas. And this band was playing there, and this was in like 2022, and then there have been other poets that have had performances there, like Jessica Salgado, who I'm also a really big fan of, and so it was really nice to like return somewhere that I've been an audience member at, and then to perform there. But a very beautiful theater. The team is very, very wonderful. They were very kind and on top of it, and I really bonded with one woman in particular named Jessie. She was great. Shout out Jessie. But yeah, the Ford is just like it's a beautiful outdoor space, like the palm trees in the back. Yeah, they're just kind of like towering over everything. It's great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I was in high school, and it was a benefit charity show for they were trying to introduce guitars into prisons, so inmates would have a healthy outlet for their emotions. The charity was called Jail Guitar Doors, and it's run by pioneer punk guitarist Wayne Kramer. And so he had the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, Tom Morello, there playing with him. Wow. And seeing these, the first time I saw both of them play was with Rise Against in Anaheim. So seeing these two guys together doing a charity show and then being at an intimate theater compared to an arena was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a little rocker fan like me, and getting to see their playing up close, and because of that, it was more just the serious fans. No one else was there to see any other opener.
Okay, yeah. That
so, in your poem, you talked about Slauson and Reseda, and people are more familiar with Slauson, South Central. One of my other guests I've had on here, Chris Siders, grew up there. How is Reseda different for people who aren't from LA?
Well, Reseda is one of the neighborhoods in the San Fernando Valley, and I went to high school in Reseda. I live in the northeast San Fernando Valley, so like the corners that includes like Silmar, San Fernando, Pacoima, Lake View Terrace, all of that. That's all me. That's like horse country, you know, and I think that I had the opportunity to like really see all sides of the valley, which was, I mean, if you live in the valley, you're kind of like gonna see all sides of the valley. It's kind of hard to just like stay in your corner of the valley.
People from Burbank find a way to not go anywhere.
Oh, we don't talk about them. No, Burbank's great. Yeah, no, like, yeah. I mean, if I like live in the northeast San Fernando Valley, like I still know the West Valley, so like the back of my hand. And Reseda is more so in the, like, going towards the west, kind of like the middle of it. It's west of the 405, but, oh, this is very important, Shane. I'm going to talk about the square. The square is a geographic, literal square that I coined the term. Somebody else has probably said it in their lifetime, but I'm claiming it right now. The square I like to characterize by the 118 to the north, the 405 to the east, the 101 to the south, and then like Topanga Canyon Boulevard to the west, like the whole 27, you know. On Google Maps it looks like a freeway, but it's not. It's just like a huge boulevard, and the literal shape of that is a square. So everything in that's a square. Some things are like Ventura Boulevard is like a little south of the square, you know, like it's a great marker for people from the valley to like discuss this like very open part of the valley. Reseda's like right in the middle of that. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the valley as a whole, like, it's such a wonderful stand-alone thing. This is part of the discourse of what is LA. Like, a lot of my friends have said that the valley is not LA. And you know what? And I get that. And I'm starting to understand it even more. I'm like, I get that. Especially if you grew up there and then you move out and you were like living in like central LA, downtown, you're living in other parts of the city. Sure, turn on your people. But when we're talking about what is literally the city of Los Angeles, the valley is the city of Los Angeles. You can say like the valley isn't LA as like whatever your like idea of what a city is, you know, like the life source of a city, sure, but literal like city municipality lines, like this isn't its own thing. If the city of LA lost the population of the San Fernando Valley, they'd be losing 1.8 million people. That's
what a
like
stat.
What a stat. There are 1.8 million people in the San Fernando Valley. That's like almost half of the city's population, because it's huge, and it's like it's all like suburbs and neighborhoods. And like, you know, when you're thinking city, if your immediate thought is like, oh, urban, like skyscrapers, like I need to see like grimy things, like no, that you're just confused on what a city is. Like, you need to understand that, especially here, like everything there, we're very big, we're very spread out, you know, include all the people. So that's the point. My point is that the valley is the city of LA. We can debate on whether it's like LA. You know what I mean? Do you hear the distinction? Okay, yeah, because I'm so serious about this. Anytime I've seen like Instagram comment section threads and discussions about like what is LA and what isn't, it's just people being confused on what the definition of a city is. Because then they'll say, people that say like, oh, the valley is not LA, it's LA County. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. We're literally in LA County, but it's the city. Shane, it's a whole thing. But anyways.
No, I see, I empathize with your point in this because...
Thank you.
Like... Getting into history debates, when I hear people say things like the nation, state, nationalism, patriotism,
exactly.
and how they identify, or like different population sizes, that's when like the nomenclature is super
super important.
Yeah, and a lot of times people are using a term that they think is right, but someone else just used it in the wrong context.
Exactly my point. Yeah, like we're just confused on our definitions, and that's okay. So as long as we have our terms right, this is like the speech and debate kid in us. Like, did you do speech and debate?
No, but I did a lot of like organizing and
yes.
Having done stand-up comedy. The people who don't agree with me let me know loudly after every performance. So I've had climate change deniers, people who were Zionist,
right,
all confront me after shows, and that's where I have to be very patient, calm, gentle, but also just state the facts and the definitions as clearly as I can.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why I feel that that's very important. Like, if we're going to have a debate on something, then it is very important to have our definitions clear, and then that saves us like so much argument, because otherwise we're just arguing over context or over miscontext. But that's its own thing. I could talk about that for hours. What is important is me getting back to the point, which was that, yeah, the Valley is so wonderful. I mean, it's just like a force of its own, lots of iconography. You know, I talk about my love for Valley girls. I talk about my love for Hot Cheeto girls, which is a whole nother poem in itself. Not Hot Cheeto girls definitely aren't just born out of the Valley. I love that term and like that identity, because anytime I've performed and talked about Hot Cheeto girls, I've had people come up to me after and say like, I love that poem about your black friend, and I was like, I love that that's how you yeah, like, because it's a world, like it's an experience. Like, I wrote it about the girls I grew up with that, you know, whose names end in like, I don't want to like name drop, but like, yeah, you know, like I'll name drop my current friends, like the Kaylas and the Yesenias, like, you know, like the wonderful, amazing Latina girls that I grew up with. But it's a very universal identity. It's also very, very central to LA. But so the Valley has a lot of that Latino experience that I was experiencing in South Central. I think definitely carried over into my experience in the San Fernando Valley. It was just in a different font. Like, it was a lot more, it was louder, interestingly. And I was confused by this for the longest time. I was like, why do we talk like this? Because it's real. I was like, what are your, and I'm saying we now, but when I was growing up, it was very much like, why are y'all like this? Until I was like that too. And I was like, wait, joy. Like, I love it. I love the openness of it. I love like how do I say, like, the amicability of a Valley girl. Like, a Valley girl a kind, lovely Valley girl will be the first to like give you a compliment and then ask your name and then just like get into a convo about like where your outfit's from. Like, that's how I meet my friends. Like, I think it's something that I learned from the girls growing up, and so yeah, so that's Rosita, and Silmar as well. I love Silmar so much. So these are the places that I shout out in the poem. I get off track so easily, Shane. So if you got to reel me back in, please let me know.
All good. I like seeing people go on their tangents and go in on a topic they're passionate about. I have a few comedian friends where, like, I know the things that'll set them off, and I mention them accordingly, and then I just sew away while they get it out of their system and give me content. But
yeah.
I grew up in Studio City, and it was and I totally see what you mean, because when I was started working with Get Lit, I was meeting people from every corner of LA County, and it was interesting seeing, like, oh, I vibed with people more from Alhambra and South Central than the kids who grew up down the street from me. Even though, like, I consider myself a Valley kid, then I would hang out with people from Reseda and Winnetka, and I realized, like, oh, I'm on the, like, more softer side of this. And
transition,
and it was interesting being where I'm like, I'm technically in the middle of LA County, but I don't feel like I'm any part of it. And knowing, like, oh, if I go over the hill either way, it's a very different situation. And, like, even living in Hollywood now, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I was living in LA growing up, now that I'm just the day-to-day nonsense, and how, like, my, like, on-guardness drops a little bit once I get over the hills.
Yeah. I get that too, yeah. The Valley, like, is definitely suburbia vibes. There is a distinction. I mean, that's a whole topic that can kind of be either really delved into or tiptoed around, but I definitely understand that. Like, there's, like, a comfort in the suburbiness of it. And, of course, like, there are also different pockets of it. Like, it's not all the same. It's not all homogenous. Like, each neighborhood definitely has its own character, its own stereotype, its own stigma, its own jokes. There's definitely, like, a unity of the 818 that is very... It's so lovely because it's so big, but it's all, like, it's very tight. I think it's very tight-knit. Like, wait, you ever been on Instagram, and then there's just, like, a reel about the Valley, and then all the comments are just, like oh man, like, Valley lore, like, and, you know, it's people talking about where they're from and what streets they grew up on, and, like, and then I'm, like, recognizing places that I know, and I'm just like, yeah, y'all are here, because there are a lot of you. There are 1.8 million of us, and that's beautiful.
That's how I really get that way when I'm, like, listening to bands that are from the Valley, like Bad Religion, Touche Amore, because, like, they'll mention freeways or, like, at specific times of day, and I'm like, oh, I totally know what going down the 5 at 5 p.m. is like.
Yeah.
Or just when they're talking about the suburban droning-ness, like, that's when I really, like, feel it hit me. Or when they're talking about Silver Lake hipsters, just... little stuff like that I feel like, okay, yeah, they get it.
Yeah, they get it. The pause after Silver Lake hipsters was so perfect, yeah.
So, who are some of your favorite poets?
Ooh, I have to shout this book out. This is a book that I'm getting through right now, Another Black Girl Miracle by Tanya Ingram.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, Tanya. I remember that when I first started going to the Poetry Lounge, Tanya had just passed, and my first night there, they put on, like, a really wonderful homage to her and her life and her work. So although I never got to meet her or even share space with her, to have her work on my bookshelf and to, like, read the poems that she was writing, both in her struggle with what she was going through and also in her joy in spite of it, like, I really love the work of people that have been around and have been in the same shared spaces that I'm growing up in. So in that same breath, like, Edwin Bodney was, like, one of the first poets who I remember, like, you know, because you go through, like, the Button rabbit hole, and Edwin's work, their poem When a Boy Tells You He Loves You was, like, one of the first things that I think I was looping all the time. And in the first, like, Zoom open mic that I attended that was actually hosted by Get Lit, they were doing it at my high school, I had no work of my own, but I wanted to read something, and so I read Edwin's work, and then to perform at Slam later that year, and have them be a judge, and then now to just be in a weekly space with someone whose work I greatly admire. Something that Edwin said in a workshop that has stayed with me about writing and the work of writing, it's like it's the oh, I'm gonna so butcher this because it was so beautiful. So it's like you know when there's like something that you love but you don't even remember it. It's just like the feeling of when you heard it. But yeah, about poetry being like about the economy of language, and you're saying the thing without really saying the thing, and you're just trying to say it in the most evocative, beautiful way. The latter half of that was all made up by me, but Edwin definitely said something about the economy of language, and I thought that was wonderful phrasing. And they are just such a magnificent writer. In that same breath, Jessica Salgado is another poet who is a frequenter of DPL. Jessica's work is very close to LA, to the neighborhood that she grew up in, to her seeing it transform before her eyes through gentrification and you know the before, the middle, the after. She is such a lovely person. These are also like just so lovely people. Like I think I'm just shouting up my friends and like the people that I like love seeing perform. Jessica has 3 books that are very, very dear to my heart. I have one of them on my bookshelf right now. I've been meaning to get the other 2. But yeah, very beautiful work. Jessie also talks about a lot of the things that I write about, which is like womanhood, our cultures. Jessie Salvadorian, I'm Guatemalan, so you know, like this like Central American solidarity, and then and men. And hell yeah, and just like our experiences with boys, because damn if they are not something amazing to write about. And I love that. I love Jessie's work, near and dear. Okay, and then I'll shout out my girl. Shout out Olivia Gatwood. I will never shut up about Olivia Gatwood. I love Gatwood's work. Gatwood and Melissa Lozada Oliva. I'm also finally making my way through Peluda. But Melissa Lozada Oliva is a Guatemalan Colombian poet who is from New York, I believe. And yeah, these are all contemporary writers who have been in this space for a while and who are amazing at what they do, and who are not only amazing writers but amazing performers. And that's really what like the aspect of poetry that is like spoken is what am I saying? Yeah, spoken word poetry. Like you gotta know how to make it come alive. And I really love finding writers who just like have a cadence that is so unique to them, and it's like when you hear their voice, it's like you can almost imitate them if you really nail it. I feel like I've gotten a really good Phil K impression because I've just like heard him so much, and I sent my Phil K impression to a friend recently, and she was like, yes, like you really got his soft theater energy, like you nailed it. And I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna work on it. But yeah, Phil K, Sarah K, like just like the poets and the writers that you see on YouTube, and then they like perform in your city one day, and then you get to see them live, and then you like cry to the poems that you were like watching at like 2 a.m. in your bedroom. Like that's my favorite thing. Mm-hmm.
I still watch the poems that made me cry at 2 a.m. in my bedroom from high school.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned a lot of poets there. Tanya Ingram, when I first started like going to DPL in high school, her, Edwin, Jessica were all there with Cuban and Alicia. Yeah. Tanya always stole the show and took my breath away. Like, I'd say like, oh, great poem, but I just didn't know even how to like approach or ask a question, because she always took everyone's breath away on stage. And Jessica, I love seeing her kick ass on stage and steal the show. I was just at a workshop last weekend where she was talking about her writing process and sharing that with other poets and creatives.
Yeah. And
Edwin, I saw him at the block party we were at the other weekend, and I've like hung out with him and on and off over the years, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and I was like, Edwin, how are you doing? And he goes, the world is ending, Shayna, don't you dare ask me that. And I was just like more than I wanted. Like, and his response cracked me up, and I was just like, dude, like, making me laugh that hard is not easy, and it was heartwarming how, like, I felt that frustration, and but the honesty, like, you were talking about the economy of words. He got right to the point. It was real.
Yeah.
It was heavy, but it was also so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something like I do keep track of is like words, especially when I'm like writing a joke. How many words till I'm in like funny territory?
Right. Exactly.
And I also like view that with poetry of I'm trying to say the most I can with as few words as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is a lot more difficult than folks realize. Yeah, Edwin is extremely funny. I hope to be. I don't even. It's just the quips, and like when they're around somebody that really bounces off of that, like it's just really amusing to see. There's another DPL host right now, Blue, a buddy of mine named Josiah, who really bounces Edwin's energy off really well, and so on anytime they're together, they are hilarious, and they just hosted a couple nights ago. The duo of them, but yeah, I guess because I'm in proximity to DPL so often, like those are the poets that I'm constantly seeing and thinking of. But there are a lot of poets who would be considered more classic writers that I've been wanting to fall into, because I think I just had something against like the uppityness of some of these like writers who are renowned and who are amazing in their own right, but there's just like me in my younginness being like, no, like lame, but like they're good for a reason. So
like more so classic poets.
Yeah, classic poets that like actually are about, like form and like not, because sometimes the poetry I'd be writing is just prose and I'm just like calling it poetry, but yeah, like actually the actual study of it and like and caring about how it looks on paper, how the structure of it is like. And I've had more discourse with friends recently about the study of poetic form and the breakdown of meter and the things and the terms that I still am digging at, but it's been fun. I'm trying to really understand it more from that angle, because I think if you're just going at it from an angle of like slam and open mics and like from this world, then you're not really like in love with, or you can be in love with it, but you're not really like understanding the full breadth of the art form, and I feel like it's a disservice to like not look at it from all sides, so, like the fun and the formal. So yeah.
I like what you brought up there. I don't think people realize all the different layers and styles of poetry, because I feel like a lot of people just get stuck in the slam mode where they're trying to keep it short and aggressive and hip-hoppy. Whereas some of my favorite poems are more spoken word, like someone's telling you a story over a fire, or more page poetry like Bukowski or Rumi, where it's better on the page, but you wouldn't go to see a concert of it.
Right.
And I like playing around with those different styles, and that was one of the fun things about when I stopped doing slams was, I can play around more with structure. I'm not submitting a chapbook. My structure and layout of the page can be all over the way, because I went to like a week-long poetry camp hosted by Sierra DeMulder and Adam Hens, and there was like a 2-hour workshop we did just on aligning and breaking down so it looks beautiful on a page. But I've noticed sometimes writing just as if it's a paragraph, even though it's intended to be a poem, it helps me write a better poem, because I'm not thinking about fitting it into these columns.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just focused on getting the ideas out.
Yeah, I had a habit of like, I'd write 4 lines and then skip, and like that was my stanza, and like getting out of that box of structure and messing around with it, I think is really important. But of course, like you kind of also have to like trip through every cliche to be a good writer. Like, yeah, you can't like I don't know what I was tripping about for myself to like be good at 18. Like, no, like give yourself the grace and the time to be bad, and then be a little better, and then a little better, and then maybe one day be good, or just be, I don't know, like, or don't like quantify how valuable your work is. Just be whatever. Yes.
That's a healthy approach to it. I was not that healthy with my approach to poetry, especially when I started doing slams, because all of my competitiveness from being an athlete just went straight to poetry, and I wasn't super aware of it as I was unboxing emotions to write a better poem. But
what a seesaw of hobbies that you had. Just what sports?
So I played baseball for 14 years.
Oh, wow,
like,
dude. Yeah.
I started swinging off a tee at age 2, and then was like drag bunting and doing high school level like stuff, just because sports was like my family's religion. I had 3 brothers, so we were all like, even if we weren't into it, we wanted to be better than each other. So it was a bit of that, and then I went to an arts high school, and I was like, oh, I can be in the shade making art. Why am I out? And by that point, I was getting sick of just some of the overly competitiveness, guys throwing their gear because they struck out. But I was really good at not striking out, so I didn't have those same issues. But it got boring to me after a while.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I started doing poetry, and this was something else you mentioned, like breaking the rules, that whole learn the rules so you can break them like a pro. I felt that way about every art form I've done. Like, once I learned the fundamentals of music, I started like mashing up techniques. Once I learned all these different forms of poetry, then I was like playing around with it more, and that's what led me to doing stand-up, was just like, oh, this is a different way of telling a story, of breaking down these ideas.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still grappling with whether I'll ever really feel like I understand the techniques enough. Like, there's just so much that you can consume, and I remember somebody, maybe Edwin, but somebody said, like, take in 3 times as much as you're putting out. So, like, reading as a writer is obviously very, very important, and I was not prioritizing that when I was, like, in school, as a student especially. Like, everything I'm reading is for classes or for some assignment that I was doing last minute. So, like, the pleasure of reading is kind of sucked out in moments like that. But it's also about the search for loving these hobbies and why you were into them in the first place, even when they are work. And because it does feel like work sometimes. I mean, I feel like a lot of poets kind of ebb in and out of, like, a really big love and passion for it, and then just kind of step away from it for a moment, and then find it again, and that's beautiful, and that's normal. And so because I was, like, away from, like, the open mic scene, especially for the better part of a year, to focus in all of my energy towards school and my responsibilities there, and falling in love with wanting to figure out technique and taking in work, and not just to be good, but to be whole, and to understand, like, my love for art again. I'm feeling 18 again, which is beautiful. Yeah.
Nice. I think I like what you were saying there about unplugging, because after high school, I, like, took a year off from writing any and all poetry, just because it was my first semester of college. But now, more so, the pattern I've been doing is I'll do stand-up for 3 months, and then I'll focus on poetry for 3 months, and then I'll do community organizing for 3 months. Because at that point I get burnt out with one, and I feel drawn to one of the other two, and it helps me get inspiration, blow off steam, and not have the pressure on that one side of my brain working.
Exactly.
Because I felt like, especially after Anime Expo, where I was doing stand-up, I felt like I could only make jokes about anime for a few weeks, just because my brain was so locked into being around anime fans for 4 days, that I didn't know how to think in any other pattern or group.
Mm-hmm.
And
love that for you. Yeah.
But that recharging is super important, and I view people's pursuit of art in like one of two ways: of the people who are doing it for fun and the people who are doing it for their career. And both have their drawbacks, because if you're doing it for your career, you might have to be silent about certain things for the gig, for the job. Whereas if you're doing it for fun, the pressure's not there, but you're also not getting the validation. And I feel like artists who do it a lot kind of have to have that conversation. Like, am I going to do this for fun and speak my truth? Or am I going to do this for a career and play the games, navigate accordingly, and be at the mercy of what the person with the paycheck wants me to say?
Right. Yeah.
So, another question for you.
Yeah.
Who are some poets you hate?
Oh. They're probably all dead. So it'd be okay to say. And they're like, no, Shane, the first thought I was like, the old white men. But, like, that's not even, like...
I hate old white men, too.
I'm alright with some of them. I don't know. I think it's just the default. Like, oh, who's, like, the... who's somebody that you, like, don't... Do you curse on the show?
Go for it.
Alright, I just, like, somebody you don't fuck with. Like, I don't know. It's, like, the old white guys. But I do fuck with the old white guys. Like, they're cool. Like, that's my whole point. Is like, I don't know why I was being such a hater.
Because there's two poets I hate with a passion that are famous. They're dead.
Okay, what are yours?
Edgar Allan Poe and Allen Ginsberg. Because they both had one of those things where, like, a little too much pedophilia for me.
Oh, okay.
On both fronts. And that was one of those where I was just like... Why these guys? Why are we learning their poems in class? There was no one else who with a cleaner record.
No one else.
And then I hate Allen Ginsberg because his poem Howl is just so good, and you're just like,
yes,
like,
yeah.
What?
Why are you the way that you are? Yeah. I think. See, these are like I don't even know, because these are like the people that I was like, like you're, like, there's so much about you. Let me just like not even step in that territory. So honestly, I don't even know him like that, and that's a lie, because you have to know Poe like that. But I didn't really want to know him like that, so I didn't get to know him like that. Poets I hate.
I like this question because I've had some people come out of the gate swinging with a passion.
No, Shane, I'm all about, like...
No, I admire that.
I just... Okay, I will never forgive certain cliches. Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, because... I don't know. Everybody can like whatever they like, whatever. I don't care. But there are certain things where I'm just like, ooh, like, why are we still doing this? Like, why? Like, I understand that some folks are very new to something, and that there's like, okay, if you're going up on stage and you're saying realize, I don't fuck with you. I don't like that. I hate that so much. And it happened recently, and I'm like crawling into my like skin thinking about it, but it's like fine, because like do it ironically, but they didn't do it ironically. It was very much.
I have this. I feel similar about certain lines in poetry and jokes, like poetry when they say like I'm a poet and I know it, or just poet and know it in any just. Like, that combination of words can be retired.
Yeah.
And then I also have this where I see a lot of comedians doing jokes that are also conservative talking points. Mm-hmm. And I'll hear multiple comedians do the same lame joke, and I'm just like...
Like what?
So, I've seen this with a lot of Latino comedians who are like, don't call me Latinx or I'll show you why, insert this problematic stereotype or statistic, why we lead in that.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's just their hatred of the word Latinx, and I'm like,
okay.
I went to a really progressive college. No one was forcing that word on anyone. It was just, hey, it's an option. And then conservatives and hacky comedians were like, lost their shit over it. Or another one, it's a transphobic line of, if your pronouns are he and him, then my pronoun's the kitchen sink, and I'm just...
Right.
And it's almost like, I've heard Ted Cruz say it, and I've heard comedians at the Improv say it, and I'm just like, hey, there was no other group you could punch at. And I've called them people out on stage at times when they make lame jokes like that, but it's just, as much as I want to like say anything, I'm like, let them do it. Let them keep doing it. They sound lame and hacky, and in a weird way, it's like, if they get that minuscule obligatory good job after, cool. Like, whereas for me, like, I don't want to do anything remotely someone else's. Exactly. But it's the same thing with like people who go up and do a ukulele cover when other people are doing originals. It's hey, if that's the validation you need to not indulge in other bad habits or sorrows, cool. But from like an audience and artist standpoint, it's boring and unentertaining.
Yeah. And then you know what? And then some people love the ukulele cover. So it's just, if it's not for me, it's not for me. What I think shouldn't be for... I feel like it shouldn't be for anybody, like these corny lines, but they mean something to someone. So I'm just like, I'm gonna hate this in my own corner, and I'm gonna like whisper to my friend about it, and then like move on with my life. Like, it's not, I'm never gonna tell somebody, hey, stop saying that because it's corny. I would tell my close friends. But like, if somebody's just, they're here, they're vibing, they're sharing their piece, like, all power to them. Like, so, which is why this question was so alarming to me. I was like, oh my god, who do I hate? I've been on a train of joy and like loving everybody. So I was like,
see, when you hang out with comedians, that's when it
goes away.
Like, like, there are comedians I haven't seen in years, but because they're still around, I can be like, oh, I can have a good back and forth of what problematic behaviors they're doing. And like, there was one person I worked with in the poetry scene when I was in high school who I won't mention by name, but like, I've never mentioned this person's name and have people go, oh, cool. It's always just groans and, oh, what did she do now? Or,
wow.
And just one of those people who was in it purely for ego and rather than just, hey, we're all here working through our own stuff. It's being good's important, but it's not the main goal.
Oh, okay, gotcha, okay.
Where like they were willing to steal poems and mislead people, and it was...
I get that. Okay, I know what you mean. Are there people that I just... Of course. Yes. I don't like a lot of people. Or not a lot. I don't like a good... There's a good handful of people that I'm just like, oh, like, you're weird. Go be weird over there, and I'm gonna do my thing over here, But like, yeah, when I'm thinking about like poets or just people like in a professional sense, or like people whose work I don't like, I haven't thought about work I don't like. I like thinking about work I like. So that's probably why my mind went a little blank. But if we were just chopping it up and I'm talking to you like, you're my homie, and I'm telling you about the summer that I've had and the people that I don't fuck with, I could talk for like 15 minutes about like one particular person and the series of events that happened, and then another person who's like being weird to my friend. Like, of course. But I think I harbor all of that in the personal arena. When it comes to like, when it comes to like poetry, I'm just like, I don't know these people, like I need to give them like the benefit of the doubt for some reason. But there's maybe that'll change. I'm a young girl. That'll probably change.
So, interviewing poets, I've learned that a lot of our inspiration doesn't always come from poetry. Do you have any like musicians or other artists that inspire your poetry?
Yes. Yeah, I'm thinking of music immediately. Yeah. Oh, so many beautiful musicians. I mean, I'm in an Olivia Dean summer. So Olivia Dean came out with a song called Nice to Each Other a couple months ago, and she's like, the dancing in that music video is like, so it's just this, and it's, I'm not able to do it fully, but that feeling is like how I'm trying to be all the time. So Olivia Dean. I also love, I love my Spanish Latina artists. The Marias are heavy on my rotation, and I don't mean that to be performative. Submarine, I listen to the front and back of that, and I'm revisiting Super Clean and Cinema, and I'm just trying to consume more work, like in like the full bodies of work. Like, I'm trying to listen to whole albums, a whole listen through of the EPs, because I will admit, Shane, I did have a very basic like top 40 radio rotation music taste. And not really, I say that, but it wasn't that bad. It was just like, I like my white girl pop stars. And who's gonna say anything about that? You know, like, somebody has to listen to Sabrina Carpenter, and that somebody is me. I'm listening to Sabrina Carpenter, and I love Sabrina Carpenter. I've seen her twice. And I love Sabrina. I love my bands too. Like, I have like a lot of Strokes merch and like memorabilia. As far as like inspiring my poetry, I think these are just they're the artists that I listen to whenever I'm like, you know, in a phase, an era of my young womanhood, and you know, they're the backtrack to whatever the hell is going on, and then I like channel all of that energy and these feelings into my notes app and into my poems, and it's beautiful. I love it so much.
Cool. I feel you on the like listening to the stereotype of your music, because that's how I feel with like skate punk bands sometimes, where I'm like, no one cares about the difference between Melancholy and Pennywise and Face to Face, even though it's like if you were to see them all lined up, it'd be like they all look like the same group, just in different multiverses.
I have no idea and I love that. Yeah.
Yes, but whereas like lately I've been listening to a lot more like European music, so like Kneecap from Ireland and Bob Holland from England, and hearing them rap about the issues in their country, a lot of it's relatable, but also just hearing the words they use, the slang they're using to describe stuff, and that like kinship of revolutionary mentality across countries, across genres.
Beautiful, yeah.
So, and I'm totally with you. I will try to plan out, however long the car ride takes, I try to figure out an album I can listen to beginning to end during that time.
Yeah.
And I love hearing how one song can complement the other, and you can't just listen to a song solo. You have to listen to the song before and after it to get the full feel.
Exactly. Yeah. Before and after. Because, yeah, like, in the same way that I've seen poets curate the order of their poems for their books, for their chapbooks, like, the curation of the order of different songs in a body of work is like very intentional, or it should be intentional, and so I'm trying to like appreciate that more, because I have a lot of musician friends who I admire greatly, and when they speak about music, they speak about it so passionately and so intimately, and so I would love to understand that more, and I've gotten closer to it, and yeah, I like listening to things and learning.
That structuring I normally when I'm doing poems it's like one or two, but for my stand-up sets I think heavily about that, of all of my jokes, there's never an accidental order. I may like forget a line or two, but
yeah,
the openers are all to soften up the crowd, and I consider like the first half of my stand-up set for the audience, because I'm doing this jokes that I'm not as passionate about, but are loosening and softening them up for the heavier jokes I want to do toward the end. And I, as an audience member and as a performer, that's something I appreciate a lot, is when it feels like, oh, you're not just reading the thoughts as they're coming to mind. All of this has an intention and a purpose. And my favorite performances, my favorite shows have always ended on that note or had that concept feel to it. That we're building up towards something and I'm going to leave you with something else.
Yeah, like you care about my experience. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen plenty of comedians where it's like, oh,
You're just yapping.
you connected your mouth to the word forming part of your brain, and there's no middleman.
I like that. Yeah, whatever you just said, I like that. Put it on a shirt. Yeah.
So,
Real.
on a more serious note, what are your thoughts on the ICE raids that have been happening here in LA?
Dude, what are my thoughts on the ICE raids? I am unfortunately like in a constant state of like feeling helpless, and I hate that because a lot of folks around me are very proactive about being out there and obviously like sharing information, and I see the hope and I understand the hope and resistance, but then there's also like the family side of it where you are just when it's me at home with my immediate family members. This is a dark turn. Oh my god. I just want my people to be safe, and I think in that there's also like when it feels like the bad thing is distant and it can like stay away, there's like a guilt of not wanting to touch it, but it's still there, and then it's like getting closer, and of course like you're supposed to do something before it even gets to that point. But my god, like if my parents are not the first people that are like, you stay here, like don't put yourself in any difficult position, because if you do that, you're putting us in a difficult position. So even like talking about their status is something I've like been more like a line I've been like walking more, and I'm really proud of where I come from, and I'm insanely proud to be a daughter of immigrants and to be like in a city that claims that and is built on that. And so the reaction to it has been really beautiful. I mean, it's one thing to say like, oh, it's devastating and it sucks. Obviously, like that goes without saying. It's just the difficulty of it all is like what we're doing with these emotions. It's like what action we take of it. My thing is, I'm talking to family about it. You're sharing resources. You're organizing in community spaces that have always felt safe, like, which is why places like the Achuchas are so important. And even if it doesn't feel like a direct pushback, like if you're not like at the feeling like you're in the faces of these motherfuckers and like stopping it, it's just like the conversation of what is happening and the consequences of it and what it does to the community and like how we hold each other, like that has really been where I've like found myself in all of it. And I've been like organizing with friends and friends who have also been a lot more involved, especially in things that have happened in the past like 10-15 years. And so especially this being something that is happening when I'm like at a bookend of my adulthood, it's like it's not just like me in my bedroom 15 watching it from my phone. It's like I am out and about and like seeing it, and it's horrible to think like I was just in this neighborhood, I was just at this Home Depot a couple days ago, and now they're there and they're kidnapping people off of the streets. And it's also weird to have to feel like
like your proximity to tragedy is how it feels personal, because it's already so close, like it's here, but also like like when an accident happens and you're like, oh my god, like I'm on those streets all the time, like
Yeah, they happen outside all the time. I've seen like 4 cars totaled in the last 2 months.
Damn. Okay, I'm so glad I didn't park there. I parked on the residential for that reason, but yeah, it's just like it's like the immediate thought, and I haven't really thought about this like out loud, but it's the immediate thought of like, this could have been me, or if this was my family, and it's a very meism. It's like it's a very like individualistic, what about meism, and also cutting through that has been so interesting, because that's why I really appreciate the discourse that is taking place like at the center of these community like organizations and these places that bring people together, and even just my friends talking about it, like the very intentional meetings of like, let's discuss like let's discuss like, I was gonna say counter protest methods, no, discuss like protest methods and like gear and shit and and yeah, that has been really wonderful, because also like I don't think everybody comes out of the womb being like, yes, like social justice, I'm about this, like, and I know exactly how to do it. You also have to learn how to do it. So I love learning, and yeah, I mean, I don't even have to say it, like, okay, because me saying like fuck ICE, like, obviously I feel like the discourse of it just feels so futile. I feel so like, because like just saying it is never gonna be like the enough. It's like what we do when we leave this room, and when you're talking to people out there, when you're like at the protests that you go to, and then when I'm in circles and in spaces, and we're having these conversations, and we're sharing the things, and we're talking to people out on the street as well. I was just talking to a fruit vendor about this like yesterday, and so but then like just the action of it, like I'm not stopping these people from doing what they do, and so that's the helplessness of it that I feel like we talk about in private, but I haven't really, just helplessness. But I know for the better half of this I've been talking about like joy and resilience, so I'm trying to like shed that angle of it more on everything. Yeah.
I admire that. When I'm organizing, whether it was with the fires or in June when the ICE raids really like started to pick up, one of the things that frustrated me most as a kid was all the pessimistic adults who talked like, I'm going to be dead soon, this is your problem, it's not mine. Mm-hmm. And I refuse to be one of those pessimistic adults, as bad as things get. Mm-hmm. And that's where I find a lot of like comfort in studying history and organizing, and that others have been through this, others have faced these foes that have tried to rip people from their communities. How did they go about it? Yeah. And I feel like as far as like organizing, everyone's heart's in the right place, but our strategy and our tactics are a little outdated. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I try to explore, whether it's like organizing or on stage, is how to express these ideas where we can improve what didn't work. And sometimes making a joke is a good way of expressing something that didn't work, and other times just sitting at the community meeting, mm-hmm. saying, hey, we've been trying this for this long, maybe it's time for something else. And it's been heartwarming seeing how every corner of LA has responded to the threats we've faced mm-hmm. this year, whether it was mm-hmm. our neighborhoods burning down or ICE coming in, mm-hmm. seeing how it wasn't just one part of the community, it was every part. Mm-hmm. There was mutual aid, and it wasn't, so we shattered those notions that LA is divided. And that's one thing that warmed my heart, is that, hey, if we're all isolated in our little pockets and neighborhoods and driving cars, but we can still come together in a time of crisis, it's just a matter of time till we get organized enough. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting looking at this from because I remember like trying to organize climate change stuff in high school before it was as aware, or like Palestine in like 2015 when people just weren't too aware about it, and the hopelessness I felt. Whereas now seeing the student movements on both those ends, it warmed my heart and it gave me hope of, oh, I wasn't hopeless. I just needed to wait a little longer and give people more time, because I view it as like everyone's on their own journey of understanding the world, of accepting the differences of others, and it just takes some people a little more time to find the right book for the right event to happen, to catalyze them into action. And I refuse to be pessimistic in all this, just because I have little cousins and I see the people who are going to be dealing this after me, and I don't want to be that. I want to be a voice of hope, as hard as it is, because that's where the challenge is. And I feel like that's where it's on us as artists and as intellectuals to find the light in these dark times. And I was thinking like, oh, what's the point of this poem or this song in the movement? And I was thinking, it's all those songs talking about what's happening now that's keeping me going. Whether your poem or your song just makes one person feel a little less alone in their frustrations, that's another person who's can hang on for another day to combat the threats we face.
I appreciate that sentiment, because I know you're right, which is why, I mean, I can't sit here and be like, and say the things that, or not say the things that I'm feeling, because it's both. It's like there are people that feel that don't feel the optimism and the hope all the time, and so to be reminded of it and to hold that, but it's the back and forth of it all. I mean, it's like it's the chill that goes up my spine every time I see something or read something, especially seeing it, because like just everything is on video. Like everything is always like on camera, and the fact that it's so accessible to see like atrocity and pain, and to feel like you like shit, like it's right here and I can't do anything. Like of course there's a moment of like of despair and a deep pit that is very easy to like to not get out of, but to be on the other side of that, like what you're saying I know is true, and so I guess this is also me just like in my like early 20s, like figuring out my autonomy and all of it, and learning how to hold on to resistance and joy in spite of it, because a lot of young girls, especially young girls and young people, are like doing that for themselves. So to tackle that on the world stage, and to like, oh my god, it's already so hard to meet yourself, and it's so hard to figure out your own shit. So it's like, damn, I gotta figure out shit against evil as well. Like that's it's a big ask, but it's important.
I feel you on that, where you're just like, oh, existing's hard enough, and you're like, all right, the most fascist America's ever been, bring it on. I kind of laugh about it just at how overwhelming it all looks, and I had this moment with my mom where I'm like, you got the house and you had life before AIDS, like I gotta fight fascists and all this other stuff on top of just trying to find a place to call my own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that, but then it's also like we're also here like yapping on camera and sewing, like, so, you know, like it's like we're doing it, and then we're also like in the day-to-day, like I'm chilling, and then like every other weekend it's like, oh shit, like
yeah, and like this is something you mentioned of like how exhausting it is with everything of video.
Yeah.
It's an exhausting time to be an empathetic person. Because we're plugged into all of the suffering and extreme emotions of all of humanity that has access to computer.
Right.
And like I remember seeing kids who were victims of America's airstrikes in the Middle East when I was 6. And that imagery is still etched into my brain, that I was playing with my little brother and enjoying myself, and then in some other part of the world there were kids getting ripped open by weapons our country was making. And that those visuals have stuck with me for years and years now. And I'm feel like a lot of people are going to have that down the road of, we're going to remember these images. We're going to remember who was saying stuff and who wasn't speaking out against it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's I mean, I think that's what like I avoid trying to think, though. It's like cuz talking about how exhausting it is to have all of this like happening almost feels like when I'm doing it, it's like, well, that's self-indulgent. Like, it being exhausting to talk about or no, to just like live in it is like the thing that I should be grateful for. Like, just seeing it and being exhausted by it is great, because it's not, I mean, isn't that the most like privileged point to be at? Like, isn't it the thing that if it's not touching you and you just have to be a witness to it, like, so that's, I guess that's like where my what's the word for freezing? Where like, okay, yeah, where like my frozenness comes from, because I'm like, I'm witness to this, and I'm just talking about it, but it not happening to me and it not affecting my day-to-day is where there's like a limbo of like I know this is happening, and I know that it is here, but how am I gonna bitch about like being tired of seeing it, you know, like, and I know that's not what we're doing, but you know, like, so I think that discourse kind of like gets to me sometimes. Is like when I see people online, or like the bots or whoever's talking about this, being like oh, like, I'm just, every day I go online and I see something new. It's like, if that's all that's happening to us, like thank God, honestly, like because the people like going through this shit like every fucking day, and who are waking up and they are not waking up in their homes, like, that's the heartbreaking thing. If I can wake up and I'm just like paralyzed is the word that I was looking for, paralyzed because it's happening to somebody, it's like, you know, it's what is that? That's a guilty survivor's guilt. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like akin to survivor's guilt. It's like this is if this is like the thing that is, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I like, from like the standpoint of American, I felt like I've been complicit in the murder of thousands, just knowing like, oh, the taxes we all pay, like,
exactly.
And how I kind of cope with that is by talking about it in my art, like, to the extent that I know artists that won't work with me because of my stance on Palestine.
Yeah.
I know because I'm shitting on rich people all the time, that hurts me for when I'm trying to get certain shows booked, but that's kind of how I cope with the privilege of, hey, I may not be experiencing it personally, but I'm going to remind everyone that we're sitting in this place of privilege while things we do indirectly are fueling these problems.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I felt this way when I was like, when the SAG and WGA went on strike. I'm in I.C.E, so we were affected too, and I was out there, and it's like, screw you, Netflix, and then I was going home and watching Netflix, or going to the climate change protest, and then filling my car up with gas of, hey, what am I doing here? And that's, and I've run into that with poetry now, where it's like, I don't want to put out a chapbook if half my poems are about protecting trees.
Exactly.
And and then my head messes with me even more of like, oh, I'm in this place of privilege, it's comfy, I'm still depressed. Like, just other suffering aside, I would be depressed regardless of, and like being mad at myself for not being more happy or comfy or enjoying it or ecstatic.
Yeah. It just, everything feels hypocritical. It's like it's yeah, what you just said, Shane. And it's, I guess, at the center of all, it's just like Americanness. Yeah. That was a deep cut.
Okay, I got one more question for you. Want it on a lighter note?
On a light note, sure.
If you could have any superpower, what would you have?
My mind went to either read minds or invisibility. And I just saw Fantastic Four. And I also just saw Superman. Oh, this is such a good question. I would...
My mom worked on the new Superman.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What'd she do?
Costumes. And she did Man of Steel before that, so she was
Oh.
already like the Nightmare Superman costume. She was like, I got it.
Oh, yeah. I saw clips of the behind the scenes of the costume fittings.
Yeah.
Amazing, like, discourse that was, like, very intentional with the costumes. Because David Cornsweet talked about, like Superman should look huggable, and Superman looks so huggable. Like, I would, he just, it was a whole thing. Yeah. Actually, yeah, why are we, like, forgetting about flying? I would fly. I would fly, and that way I wouldn't have to... Oh, I wouldn't have to book plane tickets. Like, those are expensive. I'd save so much money. I feel like everything else is just cool, but, like, you don't really have to use it all the time. If I could fly, I would get to places so quickly, avoid traffic, but also, like, I would still follow the routes of the freeway so that I can, like, feel like I'm, like, in traffic, but, like, I'm just zooming by. Yeah. And then also traffic is really beautiful from the sky, because every... like when the you're looking at like the Sky 5 eagle eye view on TV, and then you're just seeing like the flood of red like taillights, and then like the yellow and white headlights on the other side, and it kind of just looks like, it always reminds me of like veins. It looks like a bloodstream. Yeah. So I would ride the bloodstream, and I would get to places quickly. And that would be so cool. And then maybe I would, like, make a very special contraption so that I can take my friends with me. And I would...
I'm thinking of, like, a baby Bjorn, but for adults.
A baby Bjorn for adults. I was gonna put them on my back, but I like this idea more. I would get a baby Bjorn for adults. An adult Bjorn, if you will. And then I would take us to Japan, because the yen is low, is what my friend said. And it's a great time to go to Japan. Yeah.
Cool. I want to go to Japan. It's like next on like my big trip list, but
yeah. Well, you're gonna be in Ireland.
Yeah. I had to cross off my own first before I did the weeb thing and go to Japan with a Naruto headband on.
Oh yeah, should definitely go see the homeland first.
I like flying, but then I thought about, I would only want to fly if I had like a healing factor, because I'm worried I would wipe out or crash. Or, like, the flying wouldn't work all of a sudden, and then I'm...
Oh, I have to think about death?
Well, so this is as someone who thinks too much about superheroes and superpowers.
Okay.
So that was, like, one thing I was thinking, because I was on a roller coaster. I'm like, flying's cool, but if I wipe out or clip anything...
Right, you're like...
it's gonna hurt, and...
Yeah.
And that would be my one, like, oh, flying is cool, but, like... Sometimes I trip falling. If you trip flying, it's...
Yeah, if you trip flying... Oh, if you, like, catch turbulence, that would suck, yeah.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, run into a plane. I mean, that's why we have ATC, right? Air traffic controllers, just, like, letting me know. If there's, like, stoplights in the air, in the sky, I feel like maybe...
I'm terrified about flying on planes now with all the stuff that's been happening. I'm like, I'm gonna write out my will just before I go. I'm like, hey, in case I'm... on a Boeing flight and the tower's short-staffed that day.
Yeah, this is who gets my Naruto collection.
Like, the one power I would want, just as source like practicality, is teleportation. Because
yeah,
getting around's easy, I don't have to...
But then you don't have the joy of the journey.
Well, then I can just teleport to the places I want to... The scenic...
But the joy of the journey, Shane, like, the getting there. It's about the climb. Have you not...
Okay, I did a 9-hour drive from Northern California to LA.
Oh, okay.
The journey is a part of the destination.
Yeah.
But after you've been in the car doing 80 miles an
Yeah.
hour for 4 hours and your legs cramping up, it's
yeah.
like...
It's like you've already seen the beach. Like there's nothing
Yeah, and the Central Valley looks
the same.
the same once
But
you
it's
get...
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It looks like the grapes of wrath, but...
The grapes of wrath. They are growing grapes. Yeah, I appreciate where you're coming from. I feel like it's still worth it though. I would love to trip on a cloud, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Given how high I've gotten on a few flights, I've gotten nearly there.
Tripping on clouds.
Where I was just like, I just want to go out and touch them. Can you open the door?
Where are you? They don't allow. Okay, I don't know. I was looking up if like what's allowed on planes because I was like.
Oh, I can tell you everything about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Because I was like definitely not like lithium batteries, but like okay, this is important. Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Before we wrap up. Okay. While I have, my wits about me, what are you most excited for about Ireland?
A lot of things. So, like, I'm a huge ancient history geek, so I have, like, a Google Earth document of everything from, like, the ancient tomb of Newgrange, the Hill of Taro, like, places that were, like, sacred in ancient Irish mythology and probably history, but...
Yeah.
And the cool part about a lot of this stuff is that we know it was important, but because we were next-door neighbors with England, there's so much we don't know because of various waves of occupation, book burnings.
Right.
In ancient times, the Druids were orators, so there's a lot of just speculation that is really all we can do. So I'm excited to, like, see stuff that's, like, 3,000 years old. There's a deserted village. It was deserted during the famine. So
shit.
just the visual thinking of, like, realizing, oh, this was home until it wasn't.
Right.
Because, like, I know my family was from there, but I don't know much more because of marriages is falling apart, diasporas, kids having out of wedlock, and assimilation. So I'm excited to just imagine what could have been. But I'm also, like, planning on going to some Palestine protests while I'm out there and interviewing activists. So I'm excited to, like, hear and connect with people who think and feel as passionately as I do from another part of the world, and to hear their take on it. Because there's a lot of gatekeeping over the Irish identity, because there's been black and brown people that have immigrated there that racists will try to use to be like, oh, you're not from here. But I'm like, no, they're more Irish than me.
Iowa Debris.
Yeah, and... I know it's not perfect over there. They're still dealing with their own stuff, but I'm intrigued for both the beauty and how it was romanticized when my grandmother was telling me about it as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see signs in Irish. I've been learning Irish for the last year. I tried learning when I was a kid, but it's just really hard language to...
It's a very difficult
So I've been incorporating that into my poetry writing.
Oh, beautiful.
And poetry's been an awesome template of, like, oh, if whatever I learned, I could plug it in without having to do a full sentence or paragraph. So I'm excited to just even see signs, and I'm going to try to speak in it as much as I can until people tell me to speak English. And I'm going to be doing a little video project for my mental health podcast through that.
Oh, amazing. I'm excited for you,
Yeah, and I want to, like, use it as a template to encourage other white folk, like, hey, let's decolonize our heritage, because it frustrates me when I hear, like, white folks say, like, our heritage, and they stop at Confederates and Nazis. I'm like...
Yeah.
And, and, like, I didn't see ancestors or relatives that looked like me till I started studying ancient history, and I saw people with long hair and beards and mustaches and body paint. And the impact that had on me, like, oh, this is something I can connect to. This drawing for symbols on my body and a hairy head didn't come out of nowhere.
How long did your beard take to grow out? How long have you been growing this?
It's kind of, like, took over my chin when I was 19. Started, like, reaching downward at, like, 21, and then during quarantine, I was like, okay, I just want to get it long enough to go under the mask. So there was, like, a 1 year period where it was long, but not long enough to
go under the mask.
Yeah, so, like, for COVID, and I was working, like, dusty warehouses, so a lot of times I'll trim masks so that my beard can plume through.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
and even my facial hair, like, I was reading that the Druids grew their beards long as a sign of wisdom, and warriors grew their mustaches long, and warriors their hair, and I was thinking of, like, other indigenous cultures that had that connection to hair and wisdom.
Yeah.
And I love telling my little cousins, like, hey, I look like how our ancestors used to, because so many people in our family are clean cut,
Yeah.
but I have a cosplay of, like, an Iron Age Celt, and I use that as, like, a teaching point, and, like, trying to get a feel for what my ancestors were wearing and doing, and it's fun getting to tell my little cousins, like, this is what we looked like.
Yeah.
Because my grandma told me a lot about my history and my heritage, but she also had a drinking problem, so the fun of learning about history is also intertwined with the toxic behavior I wasn't as aware of as a kid, but now as an adult, where I'm like, oh, it's cool she was teaching me those words, but she reeked of wine and
Yeah.
made this, and was kind of uncomfortable to be around, so wanting to share that love of history, but in a less traumatizing
Right.
way.
Yeah. I hope, because I know that I've yet to be in my parents and my home country of Guatemala. I've yet to go. I'm hoping to go at the end of this year, but I know that when I do, there will definitely be things that feel both familiar but also so foreign to me. So I hope that, like, when you encounter that feeling of, like, unfamiliarity, but also, like, this is home and this is heritage, like, you can box that and, like, you know, evoke that into the art and the activism that you want to do, because that's definitely, like, a beautiful thing about finding and, like, tracing where we're from, and the in-between of it. I'm so excited for that myself, so
I hope you do it.
yeah, book that trip. This is why I want to fly. Like, that's expensive. It's expensive, but...
No, I feel you on that, because I know other friends who are, like, more affluent, where they're like, you haven't traveled yet, and I'm like, trying to get my life together, and also, like,
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm traveling at this time, because had I done this trip at any other point in my life, I wasn't as in touch with myself as an artist, with these different sides of myself, and as much as I want to think, like, oh, Jessica was actually talking about this at the workshop over the weekend, of it's never too late, and sometimes what you think is too late is just the right time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I really needed to hear that, but it warmed my heart of, like, hey, maybe this stuff's happening for a reason now as opposed to other times.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that.
So what's the thing you're excited most about in Guatemala that you would want them to do?
I'm excited to meet my grandparents, and I really want to talk to my mom's mom, and I don't know if I'm gonna I don't know how we'll click. Like, I know I love these people, and I've talked to them over the phone many times, you know, for big holidays and big events throughout the years, and it's so easy to say I love you over the phone, but also, like, I've never met her, and I've never met my aunts and my uncles, and I'm just so interested in how that's gonna feel when I see them for the first time, whether it's gonna feel like I've known you my whole life, or whether it's gonna feel like I am so unfamiliar to this place, but I also know so much about you, and I know both about the beauty of it and also the immense pain of it, and why they left, and, you know, it's just like I know so much lore, and then you're like, and then you're here, and so, you know, I'm just gonna sit with that, but I would love to meet them and not just, like, know of them as like people that we talk about. Like, these are real tangible people, and they're my family, and so I'm so excited to meet them, see where my parents grew up, and walk the streets that they still talk about, you know, because they'll just, like, go into tangents with themselves and be like, oh, like, do you remember this corner of, like, and, like, I'm starting to understand what they do, because it confused me so much when I was a child, because I was like, how do you remember this? And, like, now I'm like, hell yeah, like, I talk about the valley this way, like, so I want to like step into the shoes of my mom when she was 20. Well, actually, no, because she left when she was like 17. So I'd be stepping into the shoes of my mom when she was like a young girl, like 14, 15, 16. And just like seeing her home through her eyes. I'm excited about that. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
My mom lived in Ireland for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wasn't from there, but she lived over there with my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the towns I'm going to be stopping by is Grayscale, where her and my grandma lived, and I learned like a year ago that my grandma went to a Bloody Sunday protest.
Wow.
Right after there was an IRA bombing, and like, I only have one grandparent left, and there's so much I wish I could have asked the other three, so I'm
Exactly.
so glad you're getting that opportunity, and I hope you get the
Yeah.
chance to ask them that. And
Yeah.
it's weird, like, my parents all being like from SoCal, where it's like, oh, the streets they walked when they were kids, like, it's Ventura.
It's Ventura.
Yeah, like, there's no special or
There's some closeness of it. Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, perusing sometimes, doom scrolling sometimes, a lot of times. But yeah, it's at Jasmine Minchez. I'm gonna be more active on there, and active for good reasons. I have basically all of the next 5 months to myself to work on personal projects, since I'll be starting at USC, but not until the spring. So I'm going to take advantage of this time to do the things that I have wanted to do, and then blame schoolwork for not being able to do them. And now I don't have that excuse. Also, shout out community college. Go to community college. It's an amazing route. But yeah, at Jasmine Minchez, I have a blog linked in my bio. It's called Yellowfish Eye. I post poems there. I post library reviews sometimes. I'll be posting more library reviews, and a website to come. But I don't know, who cares? Just like live and be happy. That's where I want you to find me, in happiness and in a park somewhere. I love parks and I love views, and I'm probably there just like chilling, listening to Submarine, and like with this girl. I'm just like writing about the latest thing. I was gonna say the latest boy, but no, girl. No. Yeah. So just find me in happiness. Find happiness for yourself. That is what I wish for you. Love you.
I'm Shane Kenny. You've been listening to SewBro. Salon.